35 years old, I got to 10% body fat in 12 weeks. Let me show you the exact approach I used so you can do it too. Over this 12 weeks, I wasn't living like a monk. I had an event in Dubai, ran a fitness retreat in Marbella, ran a half marathon in Ireland, and I moved into a new apartment in Spain. So life was full on. So this wasn't a lock myself away and suffer type of prep. I still was living real life. If this is your first time seeing me, my name is Matt Cooney. I've been a coach for over 15 years. I've competed in natural bodybuilding, done 10 photo shoots, and got over 200 people photo shoot lean. But let's be honest, there's a million transformation videos out there. What makes me or this any different? Firstly, I'm not 22. I don't live in my parents' basement and eat egg whites and oats all day. I'm 35, I run a business, I travel, I have a full-on schedule. So if you're a busy professional, this will relate to you. Most people fail to get lean, not because they're not willing to work hard. They fail because they start out too aggressive. They don't plan around their life. They have too much flexibility when they get lean, and they have no exit strategy. Nobody accidentally ends up at 10% body fat. So let me break this down into 4 parts. The starting point, phase 1, phase 2, and the 5 big lessons that you can apply for yourself. So this is my starting point. I wasn't shredded, but I wasn't overweight. And that's important, because trying to go from 25 to 30% body fat down to 10% in one dieting phase is probably unrealistic for most, especially if you have a busy lifestyle. So for me, I had a good starting point. We created a clear 12-week focus block with clear goals, timeline, clear rate of loss. And that's the first step. You need to have a clear plan. If you don't, it's like driving without a sat nav. You don't know where you're going or where you could end up. And especially when life gets busy, you're gonna get lost. So phase 1 was weeks 1 to 8. Here, I was doing 4 weight training sessions per week, 2 upper, 2 lower and arm sessions, 2 cardio sessions, 1 long run, 1 shorter run or interval or tempo work. Reason being is because I was training for a half marathon. So for my nutrition, calories were around 2,300 to 2,600 per day. Protein I kept high, around 1 gram per pound of body weight. Fats were moderate, and then carbs would fill in the rest of my calories. So I was using a 6-1 approach for these weeks. What that means is I was doing 6 lower days and 1 higher calorie day. The higher calorie day was aligned around my long run, and I would increase my carbs. This was to fuel performance and recovery for that run. I also planned in 2 diet breaks during this time. 4 days around the fitness retreat in Marbella that I ran, and 4 days around the half marathon. The reason for this is 1, during the retreat, I just wanted to have a mental and physical break and not really worry about calories or dieting. And then 2, for the half marathon, the goal was to carb load and make sure I had enough fuel to get me through the race. So phase 2 was the final 4 weeks. And this is where a lot of people can go wrong. As you get leaner, the body can start to fight back. Energy can dip, hunger can increase, fatigue kicks in, and it makes it a lot harder to adhere. So for me, in the final 4 weeks, flexibility became the enemy. I wanted to minimize decision fatigue because at a low body fat, decision making gets harder. So during this time, calories dropped to around 2,100. I pretty much ate this exact same foods every day, no meals out, kept a simple structure. Steps, I increased to 12,000 plus per day, and I also changed my training to low volume with a focus on just maintaining muscle mass. The goal here is a short-term sacrifice to achieve that end result. It's not staying here forever. That's really, really important. What you will do in the last few weeks of the diet, that's not the way you want to live forever, but it's just what you do to achieve that certain goal. And to be honest, there was a tough week here. And I find this with anybody that's been through a process like this, you always reach a certain point where things get tough. Energy gets low, cravings are high, and I feel like it's nearly the body and the mind testing you to see, do you stay on course? Because what usually happens after that is you see a new level of condition or leanness that you haven't seen before. And that's all part of the process of pushing to this level of leanness. If you expect it to be comfortable, you're definitely gonna quit. So if you're serious about getting to 10% body fat, here's my 5 biggest lessons that you need to implement. Number 1 is you have to have a plan. You need a timeline, a clear rate of loss, and you need to plan around the events you have on in your life. Number 2 is you have to monitor your progress. You will not guess your way to 10% body fat. The main ways I measure progress: photos, daily weigh-ins, and taking a weekly average for your body weight, and also measurements. If you're not tracking, you're guessing. So number 3 is don't start too heavy. Most people have more body fat than they realize and less muscle than they hoped. You actually only realize this when you try and get the body fat off. So by staying leaner year round, you give yourself a much better starting point. Number 4, set a deadline. Deadlines drive decisions. I've seen people make this mistake so many times with dieting. They don't have a deadline, and then what happens is an 8-week diet becomes 12, 16, 20, and it just keeps pushing out. When you actually have a deadline, it makes you lock in and focus, and it changes your behavior. Especially when it comes close to that deadline and things get hard, it can be very, very motivating to know that you only have to push for a certain amount of time. If there wasn't a deadline, that's where, again, you can end up just drifting. Number 5 is embrace the suck. It's gonna get hard. It's supposed to. That's part of the process. You're gonna have times when you have low energy. You're gonna be hungry at certain points. Fatigue is gonna kick in. They're all natural parts of the process. It's how you respond that's the key. When you can know this going into it, you can prepare yourself for it. And the good thing is, once you get through it, you always come out stronger. Getting to 10% body fat isn't about motivation. It's about executing a structured plan. In my next video, I'll break down the reverse diet and how I reversed out of this without rebounding. Because getting lean is one thing, but staying lean is a completely different skill. So don't forget to subscribe if you want to see that. And if you want some help achieving your goals, the link for coaching will be in the bio.